from a secret underground bunker somewhere in the Arizona desert, 40 feet below the Earth's surface, two men, aided by their robotic artificial intelligence, Jennifer,
at your service.
hide from their wives and kids to discuss man stuff with interesting and unusual people. These men are the Bunker Boys. And here we are, still able to pay rent, sit up and eat, and take nourishment and all that stuff. Hello?
Yeah. I'm fixing my mic stand here.
Yeah, that one keeps falling over, and it's so weird because right in the middle of the show, it'll just start to drift. The arm of it will just start to drift down.
Remember the one time it was coming after me? Help!
Well, we've got an action-packed show for you today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sort of. We've... Did I take it all away in that one sort of there?
Yeah.
I kind of reversed everything.
You just shot us down there.
Sorry. There's been a lot of stuff I've been watching on YouTube, and interesting things, just little tidbits of things that I think people are fascinated in. You know, there's always the Bigfoot thing. My son jokes about the Bigfoot shows. They always say, Bigfoot show number 3057.
And they never seen one.
We keep getting closer.
Yeah.
Well, they do hear knocks. I mean, what's that all about? Do you think that's somebody in the woods just teasing them, or?
No, it's probably real.
Yeah, I think there's something to it. I just don't know what. But yeah.
I believe in it.
Show number 4057, getting closer. Back where I'm from in Ohio, there's a place that we used to go camping called Mohican State Park. And just a little bit, I think it's east of that park, there's another park called Salt Fork. And Salt Fork has all sorts of sightings going on over there with Bigfoot. And they even have a Bigfoot reunion once a year. They go down there and all these Bigfoot researchers come in, and they have this thing at the lodge where they have people guest speak and talk about their experiences. It's kind of interesting.
Well, I remember, I think it was in the Smoky Mountains or something like that. I saw a show that this couple was hiking on a trail way out in the middle of nowhere, of course, out there in the Smoky Mountains. And they ran across some giant footprints, which they thought were Bigfoot, and they went and got a ranger.
It's the ranger, sir.
Yep. And he went and looked at it and thought they were real too. So, the people went on, just kept going. And they even had pictures of it too.
Yeah.
The people took pictures of the footprints. And the ranger, told somebody, and somebody went out there and erased them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. What's the big deal? I mean,
I think there's conservative people that say, hey, I don't want anybody out there hunting this thing. Because if they're natural creatures, leave them alone.
Right, I agree.
So there's a lot of people that go out there and just erase the traces so no one knows they're there.
And then there was another show I saw, this was a couple of years ago, about somebody I think it was Idaho or something. I don't remember where it was, but the guy was out hunting, he and his friend. They saw something moving at the edge of the woods. They were like at the edge of a meadow, and he saw like a Bigfoot running away back into the forest, and he shot it, so he says. And they went and looked at it, and yeah, it was a Bigfoot, I guess. Big old hairy ape-looking thing.
So they found it, or?
Well, I guess he started feeling bad about it, and he told an official about it or something like that.
Oh, I saw that one. And they went out to look for it where he buried it.
Right, and they found the hair. They found some hair. They took it in to get it analyzed, and it was, part ape and part something else.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have any real human DNA, I don't think, but.
Yeah.
So you saw that one, see?
Yeah, I did see that one. I saw a follow-up to that where they took more samples of that, where Jeff, what's his name, Jeff Meldrum, the guy that out of Oregon that does all the testing. He's a researcher and a professor at some university in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that he had some things tested, and it turned out to be a bear. Same guy, same hair, same hair samples.
Oh, I'll be darned.
So who knows?
See, I didn't see that.
I hate when things are conflicting like
So
that.
see, I didn't see that.
Yeah, wrongly peach fuzz. We were talking about cartoons just before we started the show, and we were talking about Bullwinkle and how there's a character on Bullwinkle. I don't know if you remember. It was called Wrong Way Peach Fuzz, and he had one eye looking one direction and another eye looking another, and he was the pilot of an airplane that always flew backwards or sideways or something. And the boys were always on the airplane, and of course that was William Conrad that used to do the narration for that. And just then the boys got on the airplane and went backwards. Why? Because Wrong Way Peach Fuzz was at the controls. And then you hear Wrong Way comes in and he goes, I don't know why we're going so different in different directions. And he had this voice like Ed Wynn.
Because one eye's looking one way and the other eye's looking the other.
I think you're right. You're onto something there.
He goes in circles.
Wrong Way Peach Fuzz, you know. Well, I digress. But anyway, we're not going to go the wrong direction here. We're going to go the right direction, and that's true north. And then I want to bring into account a story that I saw on YouTube, so of course it must be true.
Those are always true.
They're true, yes. Cosmonaut. You know, China sent their first cosmonaut into space.
I thought cosmonauts were in
Russia. Okay. Well, astronaut. Those guys are in America.
A Chinese knot.
A Chinese knot. A Chinot.
China.
Or something, I don't know. But they sent him into space October of 2003.
He's still up there?
No, he came back down. They pulled him down with a string. No, he's back down. He didn't stay up there very long. I forget how long the flight was, but it wasn't very long. And it was the Zhengzhou 5 rocket. And while he was up in space, and there's only room enough for one person in that little capsule, he had something interesting happen to him. And this would kind of raise the hair on the back of your neck, if you ask me.
He crapped his drawers.
No, he probably did that on the way up with that big, boost of the rocket.
Surge of energy.
Yeah. Well, this time, scary. He heard some knocking on the capsule. In complete silence up there. Just heard some knocking. Did you hear that?
No.
And at first, it freaked him out a little bit, but he said that he wasn't sure if it was the creaking of the capsule for some reason. Maybe there were some stresses on the capsule, and it just creaked. Right. But he said it sounded like distinct knocking. And then later on, when I guess one of the other guys went up, they heard the same thing. Maybe it's the faulty design of their capsule.
Could be.
It's ready to come apart in space. You know, they're not very thick. That metal's like tin can thin. That's what's scary. Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't come apart for some reason. But I don't know how much pressure's on it. I guess the pressure's on the inside, because space is sort of a vacuum. Not exactly a complete vacuum. But
Hoover?
Yeah. But can you imagine being up there and then hearing knocking on the door?
Yeah.
He said he looked out the window and he saw nothing.
Someone's knocking at my door.
Thank you, Paul. Paul McCartney. Oh. Wings.
Yep, 1976.
That sounds about right. Pretty close, if not. So, I don't know. That was scary. I'd never heard that story before.
Me either. It's kind of interesting. Well, if somebody else heard it too.
He said he could never pinpoint where the sound was coming from. Every time he heard it, and he heard it more than once, he said that it sounded sort of like it was inside and sort of like it was outside, but, in space, no one can hear you scream, according to Alien. So there's no sound
according
that
to
can
Alien.
travel. Yeah, the movie Alien, remember they used to advertise that? In space, no one can hear you scream.
No, I don't remember that.
Go look it up, man. It's scary.
I think I will.
If that doesn't make an alien pop out of your chest, I don't know what will.
Ew.
But, yeah, he couldn't pinpoint where the sound was coming from, so the best thing he could rationalize was it was somehow the creaking of the capsule as it was floating in space.
It's like a house settling.
Sort of like a house settling. Wish I'd have said that. Meanwhile, back at the Batcave, you were telling me you had some interesting challenges this weekend.
I don't like the month of July.
Or this past week. The month of July was bad to you?
Very bad.
Betty, bad
well,
to
they
you?
have been for the last 7 years.
Every July?
Just about.
Wow. Remind me not to hang around you for that month.
Exactly. I don't even want to hang around myself.
Yeah, well, you're kind of stuck with you, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened?
Well, the reason why I don't like July is my brother passed away in July 7 years ago.
Oh, well, that
And then
stinks.
2 years after that, Mossberg, my dog, passed away in July.
Yeah.
The year after that, the chickens got, remember all my chickens?
Yeah.
The neighbor's dogs got into the coop and killed all the chickens.
Yep, I remember.
Yeah, and then this year, we've been saving money to fix the house up, as you know, with all the gravel in front of the house and everything. Getting paint for the inside and outside and doing this. We still have to get the septic pumped and, then get the house re-leveled, because it's a manufactured house. Well, it started off July with the colonoscopy, which came out okay. Thank the Lord. And then after that, everything was kind of sailing smooth. And then the little truck, the little flatbed truck, timing chain went on that. That was about the first weekend of going into July. So we had it towed to the repair shop, which is in town here. He's just starting out, and I talked to him before, and he seemed like a pretty honest guy. And that was $1,000 to put a timing chain on the little truck. And then we got it back after 3 weeks. Okay, we drove it home, and I didn't look under the truck, and I believed the guy. He said, okay, everything's done. The truck ran great, everything. Mm-hmm. So my wife was taking it to work the next morning on a Tuesday morning, and she gets 45 miles away from home, and the oil light comes on.
No.
So, okay, well, they left it there, and luckily a gal who lives in that town where it broke down came and picked him up and took him, her and Russ were together, and took them to work because they were carpooling, right?
Okay.
Luckily, Russ was there.
Right.
So on the way back, they went into the store, got a couple of quarts of oil, dumped it in there, and then took it back to the auto place. So he goes, well, I didn't change because you have to drop the oil pan to do the timing chain with this type of motor. He says, well, I just dropped it about, half an inch so I could, do it. So anyways, he thought it could have been the oil pan gasket. So I got another oil pan gasket. He put it on. And when, so anyways, I go, well, did you test drive it to make sure it's, not the main oil seal in the engine? Because if it would either be the main oil seal or the pan gasket. Mm-hmm. So no, and he's an awfully big guy. He's huge. It's hard for him to fit in that little front seat of that little pickup.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah. He goes, my wife can't drive it either because her disc is out in her back and she can't push in the clutch. My daughter can't drive it because she doesn't know how to drive a stick. I said, okay. So I jumped in the truck, drove it home. Looked underneath there when I got home, oil's pouring out.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, wonderful. So it's the rear seal.
Oh, no.
That's going to be another $600 or $700 to fix.
But didn't he cause that when he opened it up?
No, the rear seal is on the back of the engine, where your transmission goes into.
Okay.
So
it just was old.
Yeah, it was just old.
Okay.
It's 250,000 miles on the poor little thing.
Yeah.
And then I got to thinking, I'm going, when was the last time we got the timing belt changed on the Tacoma? Our other Toyota. Oh, it's 70,000 miles overdue. There's another $1,000.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And then the beginning of the month, the inverter that runs the house, all the power for the house switches DC over to AC.
Mm-hmm. Because of your solar batteries.
Blew up.
Yeah.
Remember that when that happened?
Yep.
There's $2,000. Okay, so there's $4,000 out of our little
nest egg
that we were going to fix the house up.
Oh, man.
So now we have to take the little truck back. I'm not taking him back to this guy. we took it. We're going to take it back to where the guy changed the timing belt and for the Tacoma. They're seeming a little bit more professional and everything else.
Right.
So that's going to be $600 to $700, and while he's doing that, you have to pull the transmission on. So I'm just going to replace the clutch and everything else in there. So now the guys who were working on the Tacoma, remember I was going to put bushings on the Tacoma anyways.
Right.
One mechanic says, I need them.
The other one says,
The other
no.
one says, no, you don't. And this other guy says, well, yeah, you only need them on the right side. And then you need the 2 half shafts, because it's 4-wheel drive. You need the 2 half shafts on both sides.
Might as well do them all at once if you can.
Yeah. And now there's another. So we're heading all the way up to $7,000.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, good luck in fixing my house.
You're giving me a headache.
Yeah, I have one too, Jen. Hey, by the way, Jen, can you turn up that air conditioning, please?
Yes, master.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's kind of warm in here.
Thank you, Garth.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetie pie.
Sweetie pie.
Yes, I like her.
You're bucking for something.
I am, aren't I?
Yeah, I don't know what she can do for you, but maybe something. I don't know.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess she'll have to do you some sort of electronic favor. That sounded worse than I intended.
Give me a jolt. Stick your finger in there.
Save your life one day, huh? Garth's heart stopped. Give him a jolt.
Don't say that.
Yes, master.
Not now.
Not now.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Okay. Well, what an adventure, huh? You just had all sorts of stuff going on.
That's why I don't like Julys anymore.
Yeah. Maybe you could have it happen in December instead.
Let's don't.
All right, so along with my regular YouTube watching, where I'm learning guitar parts from songs I've always wanted to learn, and watching Justin Beaver, not the singer, not Bieber, Beaver, with a V as in Victor in there. This lady raised a beaver from when it was a little pup, because its parents had died or something, and now it's chewing her house all to hell.
Oh, is it really?
Yes. I mean, what did you expect?
Yeah.
But watching that, I made my wife watch it. I'm trying to do, can I just read my email? No, watch this. It's cute. And they make the cutest noises. Beavers it sounds like little babies and puppies. And it's I never knew that. It's really interesting.
Well, you do now.
Yeah. You ever get a chance to look up Justin Beaver? And
Remember, I don't go on the computer.
I know, but you have one. You should go.
I have one, yes.
You should check it out. Well, you've got it on your TV.
I break them all the time.
Don't break them. Breaking is not good. But it's cute. She said that the thing builds dams in her house. It takes all the toys that it plays with and it drags them into the hallway and builds a dam across the hallway. And then she takes it apart.
That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
actually.
And then she says, you'll notice that he likes to chew, of course. And you can see that all the edges of her
Furniture,
everything, hallways, door jams, everything's chewed.
Really?
Up to about 3 feet high. And she says she's going to build him a shelter, but she's trying to raise money to do that in the backyard. Just keep him out there. But he has to take a bath 4 times a day. He likes to play in the bathtub. And he swims around in there. And after he gets out, then he's okay. And he gets out and she dries him off.
So how old is this little beaver?
He's a year old.
I'll be darned.
And he's got, she said, the softest fur. You wouldn't think they would be that
Well, that's
soft.
why they used to trap beavers for their fur and
Pelts.
and their pelts. And actually, they say beaver's pretty good eating.
I don't know. I've never tried that.
Well, let's go beaver hunting.
Those days are over, Garth.
That was in our heyday. Oh, never mind.
But, yeah, I don't get out hunting much anymore, if you know what I mean.
We're both married.
Not to each other. But, yeah, it's a cute animal. Very cute animal and interesting video. So I'm watching that and I'm zipping around and all these different things that keep popping up.
Now, this is on YouTube?
Mm-hmm. And based on what you've watched previously, it makes suggestions as to what you should watch now, or you might be interested in this. And one of the things, since I looked up giants before, it talks about super soldiers. And they're saying that the governments, all the big countries, I guess USA and USSR, are trying to develop the world's elite super soldiers so that they can...
What about China?
I don't know. I'm sure they're in there somewhere too.
They'll probably be the first ones to do it.
So I'm looking at this, and they're saying that they're actually changing people's DNA to make them grow larger and be stronger and run faster and have better vision and all sorts of stuff.
So they're going to be human robots, basically.
I don't know.
With flesh and blood.
They're flesh and blood, but they're trying to make them stronger than human, superhuman.
And
So this is starting to sound like Nazi World War II stuff.
Yeah, something's wrong here.
Yeah, I mean, you start messing around with people's DNA.
Yep.
Especially, well, now you know if you're in the Army, you're considered government property. Mm-hmm. And that they better not be experimenting on our guys.
Well, I'm sure they are.
Without their permission. I mean, if they volunteer, that's one thing. I would never do that, but if they did, I could see them doing it. But you don't experiment on people.
Hey, George, do you want to volunteer to be a superhuman? Well, sure. Certainly, sure, Sarge.
You know. Can you correct my vision in my one eye? Wrong my page, Paz.
Okay, that's enough.
I don't even do it well. I'm out of practice.
But yeah, that's not right.
Yeah, I don't know what is happening in this world, but if they're able to do that, now
I do. Everybody's going nuts.
They do gene splicing, and I think they've been doing that for a while.
Gene splicing?
Yes.
Levi's and stuff?
Yeah, and that doesn't mean sewing your genes.
Wranglers?
It's totally different. But when they take your genetics and splice it in with some other animal or something, and you've seen those weird things that have been washing up on from Montauk Island in New York?
Well, that island either is or used to be a research.
Yeah, still is.
For experiments.
Yeah, it's government controlled. You can't go over there.
Right, you can't even go a mile from it, I don't think. Maybe you might be able to.
Yeah, there is like a warning area where you can't get close to it. But people in New York say there's been strange creatures washing up from shore.
Exactly.
Or onto shore. And they're half human, half pig. And you can see them on the internet. And I mean, that looks real to me. I don't know why somebody would waste time making something not real like that. But if that's true, I think we're going way beyond playing God here.
What happened to your voice? It just got
louder?
Louder and deeper.
I noticed that.
What in the world is going on with the electronics here today?
I think it's DNA splicing.
It could be.
I don't know. I noticed that too. It just seemed to pop, and there it was.
Right.
So I don't know if it was the microphone or what, or the board. But the board looks normal. So
hey, not to change the subject or anything.
But you're going to anyway.
I will.
Go ahead.
Mermaids.
Yes.
Let's look up mermaids. And,
Did you
the mermaid or merwomen or mer people? That they had a show on there a couple of years ago that they've actually seen them, and one washed up on a beach, and a kid found it.
Yeah, I saw that.
We should look something up on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have read about that, and I've watched the video, and it doesn't look. I mean, it looks real, but it looks Hollywood to me because it's so short, and it's quick, and it just I get a bad vibe that it's not real.
But if you go a little bit further, they have found some sharks and stuff that washed up with stingray points stuck in them. Gosh, I wish I could. Never mind.
No, that was interesting, though. I mean, for years, people have been talking about faeries. I mean, back in the heyday of photography.
I know a couple.
I don't think we're talking about the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Now, there was some guy that would take photographs of fairies. Now, of course, they were all faked. And when you look up the stuff, it's obvious fakes.
Fake fairy.
Fake fairy.
Fake fairy.
Fake fairy. But he did a great job doing it, but it was superimpositions, 2 pictures. He created the little fairies and then took their picture and then superimposed them on negatives he shot of people. Oh. And he was supposedly making money taking pictures of people, and a fairy would magically appear in the picture. He had already exposed them with the fairy, and then when he shot the picture, he double exposed it.
He's a cheater.
Yeah, and when they developed the photo, then you could see both parties. So, yeah, but people have been reporting seeing real fairies in the British Isles and Ireland and
do they bring in quarters and dollars for their teeth or something? Or?
I don't know. These things remain a mystery.
Speaking of odd things like that, have you ever taken a picture and then looked at it, either on a real picture that you used to take in and get it developed, or even on the computerized stuff now, and seen orbs?
Most of the stuff that I have seen as orbs, yeah, I've seen a few things.
And I mean that you have taken.
Yeah, that I've taken and had developed. I think most of them are dust particles. Like if you use a flash, I'm a photographer. I've taken pictures since I was 16.
Well, me three.
But I studied it. I don't know if you've spent a lot of time with it, but I studied that in darkroom techniques and all sorts of different
I
things.
used to study dust particles.
Well, you probably did if you saw orbs. But I'm thinking most pictures aren't orbs. They're dust particles.
They're dust particles.
Yeah, because there's always dust flying around the room, and especially in an older location.
Then when you have a flash,
it ignites them and lights them up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they look like orbs, but they're not. And I can tell when I look at a picture what that is. But there are others that are not explainable, and they are actual orbs. And there's
that you have taken.
Not that I have taken, but I've seen them in that other people have taken.
I see," said the blind man.
Yeah, in video. People have taken video of them. And then there's that one thing we saw here. So, I believe there are things like that manifest. I don't know why they do or what they are, but you can see them.
My wife's mother passed away, 14 years ago, but we went to her house. She was in hospice, and she passed away at home, blah, blah, blah. And right after she passed away, it was just starting to get dark. And we were taking pictures off the balcony at the lake and everything. Mm-hmm. And nobody was smoking cigarettes or nothing.
Wacky tobacco.
No, or wacky tobacco. But there was in the picture, there was like smoke, and it looked like a skeleton.
Really?
Yeah.
You still have that picture?
I think we do somewhere.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I'd like to see it again too.
Yeah.
But it looks freaky. Wow.
Yeah, you can.
Look, it raises the hair on my arms right now.
Yeah, maybe you should just shave that off and you wouldn't have to raise it anymore.
Then I wouldn't have to worry about it.
Just a thought, But I'm thinking that a lot of people do see things in pictures when people pass. I don't believe in ghosts, but I do know that we each have some sort of a spirit in our body. And who knows what happens. And there was a guy that studied death. He was curious if the soul weighed in what he called the soul, the spirit, whatever it is, the thing that animates us. He thinks that it has to be of substance. So if it's in your body, it's got to be made of something, and therefore it must have weight. So this was a while ago, decades ago, where he did this study, and he got permission from the people that were dying. They knew they were dying, and some people were in their last hours of life, and some went into a coma, but he got previous permission, and he had weighed them on a scale. You put them on a scale, and he actually stayed there with them till they passed. And
he weighed them again?
No, they were on the scale as they passed. And he could see the weight shift after the body went limp.
I think I heard something about that before.
Yeah, it's a well-known study.
It's not a whole lot of losing weight.
No, it's like micrograms. Yeah.
But that must be the spirit leaving.
Yeah, it could be. So he did this with several people, and he got the same result, and most of them lost the same amount of weight on that scale.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. But, death is not one of my favorite subjects, but we're all going to go there one day.
Oh, yeah.
And we hope that we have an afterlife.
Hopefully we still have at least another 10 or 15 years left in us.
More than that. I'm going 30 years.
Oh, good luck. Good luck on that one.
I may not like what I see in the mirror after 30 years.
You'll be 90 years old.
But, yeah, it could be interesting. I know some golden agers that have made it to 90. Met a woman that had made it to 102, and she finally passed.
My grandma passed at 94.
Wow.
Well, my mom was 84 when she left. My aunt's still going. She's 86 or 87. My uncle on my dad's side, he was 94.
Wow.
Or 96 when he went.
That's a pretty good ripe old age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that if You know, they say baldness skips a generation. I think death skips a generation too, right?
No.
Well, it was a nice
Well, how do you know? Just be quiet for a moment, Jen.
You're not even alive.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. I guess that means you won't die.
Well,
Unless, of course, I yank the battery.
you should have seen the look on your face when you told her that. That was funny. I don't care what anybody says. That was funny.
Boys, it's time for supper. Come on out.
What?
Huh?
The hell are you talking about?
That was my Jewish aunt.
Come out for supper.
Are you Jewish? I
No.
thought so. No.
I'm Druish.
Yeah.
I'm a little screwy-ish. No, I'm not Jewish.
Hey, Screwy, see you in St. Louis.
Thanks, Bugs.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah, put a cork in it.
Put a cork in it.
Fill your pie hole with this.
Wow.
That was a good think.
I think you filled the pie hole there. I removed the cork from it anyway.
Then I wrote.
You were talking about Rockford. What's up with your young Rockford boy?
Yeah, this is another July thing. The last day of July, second to the last day of July, we get home from work and we let the kids out. Well, we called the dogs the kids. Let them out, and they started running over towards this way, towards your house, because we have Mossberg Trail, you know. Mm-hmm. So they always follow that trail. They come back 10 minutes later. Bella runs in the house, and here comes Rockford, limping with his left paw up. Oh no, what'd you do now? So anyway, it's his index finger. As you look, if you look at our hand, his index finger is swollen. It's getting swollen. Either he sprained it, bruised it really bad, or it might be broken. I hope not. Or he's got a cactus needle or something stuck in it.
That sounds logical. There's enough cactus hidden up here.
Mm-hmm, there is.
There's not a lot of it, but every so often you'll run right into one.
Yeah, you do.
And it's like, ooh, glad I didn't step on
Especially
that.
when you're wearing shorts and it sticks in your leg and stuff.
I hate when that happens.
But yeah, now, so that happened Tuesday, and what's today? Today's Saturday. We've been putting ice and everything on it, but seems like it's getting bigger. So I guess we're gonna have to spend another $300 to go to the vet to see what happened there.
And doggone it better be something.
Yeah.
or paying money for nothing doesn't make you happy, right?
Well, of course, they're going to take x-rays and everything.
there's-
Well, we're going to take an x-ray, see if it's broken or
That'll be
whatever.
$100.
Yeah. I mean,
I think they're about $70 now
nothing's cheap anymore.
for doggies. So he'll never hitchhike again, huh?
Not with that hand. or that paw, I should say.
Paw.
Hey, Paul, where's your maw? Or where's maw, Paul?
I feel like I should be playing the Little House on the Prairie theme here.
How does that go? I forgot that.
I can't remember. I'm thinking Walton's right now for some reason. But you were mentioning Rockford, and you had named him after Jim Rockford and the Rockford
The
Files.
Rockford Files, yeah.
I have a couple quick little tie-ins with that. I was watching YouTube, as I'm often wont to do, and they had an interview with James Garner, and he, I guess, drove his own stunts in that show. So all the high-speed traffic stuff you see, he's driving.
Oh, I'll be darned.
They tried one episode with a stunt driver, and they asked him why he wanted to drive. He said, well, I'm the best driver there is. He said, I know what I'm doing. He said, these other guys, they're afraid to take the chances I take, so it doesn't look as good. And when they shot the video, they shot this stunt driver, they were right. He just didn't cut it. So he says, you know what? Okay, I'll let you drive, but be very careful. You're the star of the show. We can't afford to lose you. So he ended up doing the rest of the stunts himself. I had no idea.
Well, if I remember correctly, he went to school for driving and stuff like that.
I think he
For
did.
Driving race cars and stuff like that.
He was a stuntman before he got into
Oh, was he?
acting.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that explains it, Ricky.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, there's that Ricky guy again.
Ricky. Bubbaloo. Oh, wrong Ricky.
Oh, Lucy.
But yeah, he's an interesting character, James Garner. I would have liked to have met him.
You ain't kidding.
He seemed like a real down-to-earth person.
Sure did.
Yeah.
When did he pass away? In the 90s?
Oh, man, I don't know. It wasn't too terribly long ago. I think it was in the 2000s.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Kind of sad.
And the other tie I have with the show, and this is that game that my wife and I play, 3 Degrees of Separation, where how many jumps does it take to get Chris to a celebrity? And because I've met quite a few, well, enough.
Including yourself.
I'm not a celebrity. But,
Well, to me, you are.
oh, thank you.
Oh, you're a slob eater.
Would you please not? What? Yeah, you're not getting my autograph now. That's it.
Oh,
I'm done.
I take it back.
Okay. You'll be the only one waiting in line outside the studio here. Outside the man cave. But the other tie I had, when I was in Tucson, I lived down there and worked at a radio station. There was a little cable TV network at the time. And they had a public channel, and because they had a public channel to keep their public license, they had to let people have public access. Do you remember those early cable public access channels that nobody watched, but people would make their own content?
Well, how would I remember them if nobody watched them?
Well, everybody sort of watched them. That you would tune in, briefly to see what the latest train wreck was. Some guy trying to do his own show or trying to be serious, and it looked ridiculous.
I've never watched them.
Oh, they're horrible. It was what that Saturday Night Live comics were all about. The 2 kids in the basement with their guitars. Hi, Garth. Howdy, Garth.
Oh, okay.
That was a cable access show, supposedly. And that's the kind of stuff that was running in Tucson. People would do their own shows.
How many years ago was this?
Oh, geez.
20 or
long
20
time
years
ago.
ago?
Probably 30.
Really?
Yeah.
You've been out here that long?
Well, I was here, and then I left, and then I came back.
I was here, and I was there, and I'm everywhere.
Wrong way, page size.
Oh, no. Sorry.
First I was there, then I was here. But anyway,
You should see your face when you do that.
wrong. You gotta make your eyes roll around, do crazy stuff. But anyway, I was down there, and I was in a class for learning how to use their cameras because I wanted to put a show together. I never did do it, but I was there in the class, and by the 3rd class, we were getting to know everybody. And I was talking to this one gentleman, and he was an older guy, and I was young at the time, in my late 20s.
So they were 3rd-class shows?
Yeah, they were worse than that.
Worse than
5th, 6th class.
Oh.
But anyway, this old guy was there, and he goes, tell us about yourself. And he did, and finally he says, there's something about me that a lot of people don't know, and I'd like to share. My nephew is Mike Post. And he says, does anyone know who Mike Post is? And nobody raised their hand. And I said, I do. He goes, who is he, if you know who he is? I said, he's a composer who's done most of the theme songs for all these 70s hit shows. And he goes, yeah, that's right. And Rockford Files was one of the shows that he composed. So I was in class with his uncle, with Mike Post's uncle.
Huh.
But I never met Mike Post. I'd like to meet
I
Mike
wish
Post.
you would have.
If you know Mike Post, have him email me at bunkerboysunderground@gmail.com.
Right. It's like everybody does.
And then we'll interview Mike. That would be a good show. All the TV themes he's written. I don't even remember. Did he do the A-Team? I think he did the A-Team, all the adventure stuff.
What are you looking at me for?
I don't know. But maybe you had
Quit looking at me.
some intelligence under that hat.
Well, I do to a certain extent.
Okay. Can it be measured?
Yes.
Okay.
Get your ruler out.
Okay, here it comes.
No, you better do something bigger than a ruler. You better get the measuring tape out.
Measuring tape. Have you ever crocheted or knitted?
Yes.
Okay.
I knitted. I used
Really?
to knit with my mom.
I don't know why it made me think of that, but I just
Yeah,
thought.
I don't know either. What's up?
I don't know. I used to crochet, believe it or not. My mom taught me the popcorn stitch, if you must know. And I was making these flowers out of this popcorn stitch. And I would help her make stuff. And they were pretty good. They weren't as good as Mom's.
Just separate little flowers,
Yeah.
and then you just sew them back onto a blanket or something.
You could sew them onto a blanket or some sort of,
See,
bed
two
covering or
two
something.
grown men talking about crochet and knitting.
Yeah, we're secure in our manhood. I just want people to know that.
And we're old grown men.
That's right. So who cares? We've already got our wives.
Hell, we may as well start doing it again.
We don't have anyone to impress. but ourselves.
Yeah.
I still want to do the boy band thing. Well, not boy band, but band. I want to go out and play. I've been practicing Eagle songs. And,
good luck.
And, what else did I do? Oh, Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates?
Well, you know that.
Where are you taking them?
I'm hauling them down the street.
Oh.
To the oat factory.
To the oat factory.
Where they shoot rice from cannons.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that before, huh?
Yeah. I thought that was a bunch of crap when I was a kid. Because that's what Quaker Oats used to advertise. That they shot rice from cannons.
Right.
And that's how they made puffed rice. I thought it was a joke. That's the truth. That's how they puffed the rice.
Isn't that something?
They would shoot them from cannons. And then they would puff up. Who knew? And
But what would they shoot them into?
just an empty room. And then they would shovel them up and put them in with a clean shovel. And put them in bags.
I was going to say, those rings
boxes.
better be
They're clean.
purified.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you'd get 800 gallons of milk and dump it in the room.
And swim around and eat.
Right. Invite everybody in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to eat with some of the people in our neighborhood.
The neighborhood you're living in now?
This one, yeah.
Oh.
I don't think.
Oh, this neighborhood out here.
Yeah, the one. You know,
Well,
the one
this isn't really a neighborhood.
people share teeth up here to eat. So it's my turn to eat. Give me the teeth. And I'm not kidding. It looks that way. Maybe that's more how I feel.
No, it's. I think you're right. No, hey, where'd you get that tooth? I've had it.
Did I borrow it?
Yeah, let me borrow it for a few chews.
What is today? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Oh my! I feel bad for people that don't have teeth and that didn't take care of their teeth, and I, quite frankly, I didn't get to the dentist as often as I should have when I was a kid. But we were on a limited income. I was in a not poor family, but what do you? He's making chewing faces over there. But you hope that your teeth aren't going to fall out, and at some point, I guess we'll all have to have them pulled if we're not lucky. But thank God my son's teeth are good. I've been having him coated with that stuff that keeps them safe, so he doesn't get cavities.
Safe coat.
Well, we got an industrial safe coat. What do you like? 30 weight?
We spray them right on there.
Spray them on, give you double coat.
Yep.
Yeah, for $29.95. Earl Shive.
Open wide. Yeah, remember when the Earl Shive used to be $29.95?
Any paint in any color, $29.95.
Jeepers, that was what, 35, 40 years ago?
But don't let it rain on your car.
Yeah, all the watercolors will wash off.
Yeah, that's funny.
Remember old Cal Worthington? Speaking of Earl Shive,
That name rings a bell. Why do I know that name?
he's a car salesman. I think he was Californian or something.
Yeah, it could be. I've heard the name. Maybe I heard Johnny Carson talking about him or something.
Could be.
That sounds familiar, though.
Cal Worthington.
Yeah. We had a lot of people in Cleveland like that. We had a lot of horror show hosts, and as a
Excuse me,
kid,
my nose is running.
that's all right, catch it. My favorite shows were horror movies when I was a kid, and I would watch them. They would start Friday night. We had a show called Big Chuck and Houlihan, and then Houlihan was the weatherman. His real name was Bob Wells, but they called him,
Houlihan the weatherman?
that's why they called him Houlihan, to make it rhyme, believe it or not.
Dang.
And his real name was Bob Wells, and Bob had a great radio voice. He used to do radio. And he was also the horror show host, him and Big Chuck Shadowski. And finally he retired. He left to get into Christian broadcasting. And
You make more money there.
he ended up being in a movie, Summer Rental, with John Candy. Mm-hmm. He was one of the guys that walk out to the table with John Candy in one of the scenes where they're on a beach or a wharf or something, and they're having drinks. And he was there. And he just happened to be an extra or something. I don't even think he had a speaking line. And Bob did that. And then one of our other hosts became very famous. His name was Goulardi. He wore this mop, like an old mop head, for his wig. And he wore sunglasses, like Wayfarers, with one lens punched out. And he wore a fake goatee. And he would put a lab coat on and had all these buttons that kids would send him. Some of them would say, "Turn blue and get sick." And that was one of his phrases that he would say. "All right, everybody, turn blue, get sick." And then in between, he'd blow up model cars, with fireworks.
How long ago was this?
This is 30 plus years ago, 40 years ago maybe. And somebody took over his job when he left, because he and this guy named Tom Conway worked together. Tom was his cameraman, and they both went off to Hollywood. Well, Tom joined the Carol Burnett show and became Tim, and not due to a change of any organs or anything. It was because the Actors Union already had a Tom Conway, so he had to change his name. So he's Tim Conway.
Oh, be darned.
So he became Tim Conway, and he was with Carol Burnett for years. And then, of course, he was in McHale's Navy and other comedy treats. And then he toured with Harvey Korman doing that dentist routine that they did. My wife and I got to see them the last time they came to Arizona. I actually have some video of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
some
we
still
already talked
pictures.
about that,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was funny, hysterical stuff. And
I bet it was.
who else? Oh, so Goulardi, his real name was Ernie Anderson, and Ernie became ABC's television announcer for all their promo work. He was the first big voiced announcer that made over $1 million, and he's the guy that did The Love Boat.
Now it's a drop in the bucket making $1 million.
Yeah, I guess so. I'd like to try that drop in a bucket,
You
though.
ain't kidding.
But he did all sorts of stuff. The Winds of War, tonight on ABC. Remember those old... Well, you playing footsie with me?
Sorry.
Between you and my son, you guys have long legs. My son will sit across from me and he'll kick my shoe off just to
Mess
irritate
with
me. Yeah, pull my shoe off. I go, what are you doing?
While you're eating dinner?
14 years old. He does that to his grandmother, too. I said, one of these days, Alice, boom, to the moon.
To the moon, Alice.
Yeah, but kids. But I always thought that was interesting.
Hey, Ralph.
Hey, Ralphie.
Ralphie boy.
Yeah, that
But,
was
hey,
good for the
Jennifer,
honeymoon.
Yes, master.
get this temperature a little bit lower in here. It's getting hot.
Powering up.
Thank you.
Jennifer, at your service.
Finally. Whatever happened to Smitty?
He's down in the bowels.
He's fixing this thing. I hope.
He's been working on it.
Yeah, for the last 6 months.
You know when I think this is going to get fixed? About November.
Oh, when it's cold.
Yeah, I think that's when it's going to happen.
And then the heater will go out.
What are you two complaining about?
You, Smith.
Was he out there all
He's
along?
eavesdropping on us.
You're always complaining about something.
Yes.
You gotta stop it. I'm trying to work as hard as I can. Trying?
Get your monkey wrench and go back down there.
It's more like a crescent wrench. So, while we're here, boys, who's
Okay.
got the beer?
I do.
You always have a beer in your little portable case.
Yes, I do.
It's about time you crack one open.
Don't go anywhere without it.
The people could hear you better, Smitty, if you were on the mic.
You mean like this?
No. You're too loud
You're
now,
too
Schmidt.
close.
Yeah, back
Right.
away.
No one's ever taught me. I'm not a trained professional.
Hey, Schmidt, you're actually up here talking with us.
I know, isn't it crazy?
That's kind of cool. What do you think, Chris?
I think he's irritating.
Uh-oh, you said
You're
it
just
right to
saying
his
that.
face,
You're
too.
just saying it. He's just jealous because I have a full head of this white wavy hair.
I think he's just kidding.
I've got a full head of white wavy hair, and you got nothing.
You're growing more hair on your chin than you are your head, Chris.
Yeah, I went to the full beard to kind of, so it looks like my hair slipped down to my chin. That kind of evens things out.
I never thought of it that
Yeah,
way.
think about that. I may just shave it off, though. It does make me look old because it's all coming in white.
So is mine.
It's like, wow, I never realized it was so white until I grew it out. The only thing, my mother-in-law asked me if I dyed my beard.
See you later, Schmidt.
Yeah, get out of here. I'll fix it.
Oh, he's walking down the hall. I think he got a little bit pissed at us.
Yeah, I think he was just kind of fascinated with what we were doing.
Well, yeah, and then he got pissed.
He just stood there looking at us. Well, I mean,
I know.
what do you want me to say? I don't know how he snuck in on us. Rarely does that happen.
I didn't hear the door close or anything.
Normally, you hear that big thing. It's huge. We have to end it on a funny thing or a quip. Or you have something interesting.
Fleas.
Feliz Navidad?
Feliz Navidad.
Fleas, I have not.
You ever been to a flea circus?
You have. And they charged you to get in, and they saw you coming.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
This guy's gullible here. We could get him for everything he's got.
Look, it's swinging back and forth. I can't take you anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. All right, now let's test your memory going back. This is for the older folks in our audience. What were the... Would you stop that? If that itched, you had 24 hours to take care of that before you got here. What...
My book cover?
Yes. What were your favorite shows of the 60s?
Gilligan's Island.
You like that one?
Yeah, Beverly Hills Billies. I Dream of Jeannie. Bewitched. Oh, and there's multiple more.
Do you remember My Mother the Car?
Yes.
My Favorite Martian?
Yep. Oh, my favorite Martian, yeah.
How about Time Tunnel?
Nope, don't remember that.
Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea with Richard Basehart.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was a narrator, too, by the way. He did a lot of stuff for National Geographic. Great voice. He died of a heart attack. With a name like Basehart, you'd think he wouldn't have that problem.
Poor guy.
Yeah, great voice. He was the captain on the ship. And let's see, who else? Time Tunnel, what was he? Oh, The Outer Limits.
Oh, yeah, everybody remembers that, I'm sure.
Everybody our age and older, maybe.
Well, who was the guy who narrated that?
The Outer Limits?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
You don't remember him? Because he would stand there and...
Oh, no, you're talking about Rod Serling.
Rod Sterling. No, it's Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone.
Okay.
Yeah, Serling was Twilight Zone. But I don't know who did Outer Limits.
Why are these mics so hot?
I don't know, but they are, for some reason.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
You know what that means?
Yeah.
It means your show is done.
I thought you left.
Get out
What
of
are you
here.
standing behind the door?
Yeah,
He's
He's
dropping on us. Get out of here, Schmidt.
yeah, you're up with a plug on you.
Well, you better fix it first.
Yeah.
Sorry, Schmidt. Oh, you see the look on his face?
Oh, man, daggers.
Oh. Anyways, strange but two fracks.
Okay.
Okay, says here a flea is capable of jumping 13 inches in a single leap. In human terms, this would be equivalent to a person leaping 700 feet in one bound.
Yikes.
That's a long way.
That's a serious jump. Man, that's superhuman.
Yep, and that's strange but true.
Strange but true facts with Uncle Garth and Uncle Garth's Almanac. I say that 3 times fast.
Exactly.
Well, that's the end of our show. We thank you for listening, and we've got some guests planned for future shows, so stick around for those. They'll be very entertaining.
Should be, anyway.
Yeah. We are Chris,
I'm Garth.
and we are the Bunker Boys.
Yes, we are. Once again,
Underground.
underground. Say goodbye, Schmidt.
Get out of here.
He's still there.
Get lost.
Still there.
That's it. I'm done with you.
I think you were done a long time, Schmidt.